Hey guys, it's Sarah. So this video I feel like I've been preparing for months now. I think it's been about 3 months since I decided I was going to film this video, and I feel like I'm finally ready to film it. But I am going to be testing out a bunch of sustainable, eco-friendly, and/or ethical brands. Now, the more I've prepared for this video, the more I've started to have a lot of mixed feelings about this video topic because of a few reasons. I really just wanted to spotlight some brands that I feel like are kind of going the extra mile in terms of using more sustainable packaging, maybe more ethical business practices, responsible sourcing of ingredients, things like that. But I also know that things like greenwashing and cleanwashing are very real. But these are all brands that you all have expressed interest in. I asked you a few months ago, back when I decided I was going to film this eventually, I asked you guys on my YouTube community tab and also on Instagram stories. That's usually where I ask you guys things, what brands you were interested in hearing about. And so most of these are brands that you guys told me about, and then some of them are ones that I kind of found on my own that seem to be lesser talked about. So I really kind of just wanted this video to facilitate a conversation because I want to know what you think. I mean, I'm not saying, first of all, I'm not saying that suddenly I am just like the pinnacle of ethical beauty, because I think it's a journey. But this idea was it really came to fruition back more towards the summer of last year when I did a video talking about kind of my thoughts on cruelty-free, what cruelty-free means on my channel, and then other things that I wanted to start thinking about outside of just cruelty-free, because it does bother me that a lot of times it seems like people view cruelty-free as like the end-all be-all of ethical beauty consumption, and I really do think it goes much farther than that, and it's really just one small piece of the puzzle. So that's kind of where I came up with this video idea. But am I saying that these brands are the only brands that are doing these things? No. Am I saying that these brands are better than maybe the brands that you could just find at the drugstore? No. That's something I also want to start learning more about. I really want to start just learning more about individual brands' ethics, because I'm curious about some of these really popular drugstore cruelty-free brands like e.l.f., Physicians Formula, Milani. What else are they doing to be ethical? Really, this is not meant to be anything other than we're just trying some new brands. I wanted to spotlight some brands that seem to be doing some cool things. I want to hear from you. I want this to be a discussion down in the comment section just about what do you think it means for a brand to be ethical? Is it our job as consumers to choose ethical products, and what does ethical even mean? All of that, but let's just go ahead and get started. So the primer that I'm using is from a brand called Elate Cosmetics. This is their Prep primer. I decided to get a sample size because I figured that was actually the most sustainable way to figure out if I actually like a product enough to buy the full size. Plus, many of these products are a little bit expensive in my opinion. So this primer, this tiny sample was $9. The full size is $42. I like that they used a glass jar for this. It's meant to be a hydrating and smoothing primer. My skin is already very well hydrated right now, but I feel like I can use all the hydration I can get. I feel like I just got way too much of that. I'll just start with this. But this definitely has some sort of fragrant essential oils in it. I think I saw that it has geranium flower or something like that. Some flower extract, so just be aware of that. But as I go through these products, I just kind of wanted to talk about each brand and what they're doing to be ethical. Elate Cosmetics, I'm also going to be using a concealer from them. They are Leaping Bunny and Logical Harmony approved as cruelty-free, so that's awesome. They are a certified B Corporation, and that term is going to come up a few times in this video. I'm going to just link the B Corp website down below so that you guys can just read about it on your own. But it's essentially a certification where companies can go through this what seems to be a pretty rigorous assessment to gauge how well they are using their corporate responsibility to do good things for people and for the environment. There's a lot, so I'm just gonna leave it below so you can make an educated decision on what you think about it. But their packaging, they say, is about 75% waste-free, and they are always kind of striving towards as low waste as possible. They are a 100% vegan brand. The ingredients are about 75% organic, but they also say that when there's a choice between fair trade and organic, they choose fair trade. They say that they measure their waste outputs and set goals to decrease the amount of waste they bring in and out of their office, so it's a big part of their like office culture as well. And they also say it's important to us that each person involved in the making of our cosmetics is treated ethically and fairly. So that's what they say, that's what they claim. So that was the primer. It kind of comes out almost like an oil, or like an oil gel, I guess I would say. And I've only used it once before. It feels like it doesn't make my skin feel oily or greasy or anything. Just kind of lightweight, sort of hydrating, but not insanely greasy either. I also got a sample of their concealer. This is their cream revealer. I got the shade CC1, which I think is the lightest shade. The sample was $4. It comes in this little aluminum tin. I think it's aluminum. And the full size is $26. This is the second time I'm trying this. The first time I tried it, I was not so sure. But I'm doing this first because I'm actually going to be using a powder foundation today. So it looks very light, like shade-wise. You might recognize Elate. You probably can't recognize them by these little sample things, but most of their like compact products come in like bamboo compacts, and many of them are refillable. So far, I don't know how I feel about this concealer. It feels kind of dry in this tin, and I feel like I'm kind of having to build it up a lot. Very brightening. Could be that the shade is a little too light for me. But in the tin, it looks like a fine shade. I feel like it comes out a lot lighter than it looks in the tin. So yeah, not the most coverage. My under eyes look extremely light right now, but I'm sure as I put the powder foundation on, it'll look better. But yeah, those are the two products that I got from Elate. So I'm gonna keep testing them out, and I'll definitely let you know, probably once these end up in my empties bin, whether I decided to buy the full size or not. For foundation, I'm trying one that was recommended to me by one of you called the Alima Pure, that's the brand, Satin Matte Foundation. I again got samples of this because I wanted to make sure I knew what shade to get, and also just wanted to see if I liked it first. But this is a loose powder foundation, and I got the shades Neutral 1 and Neutral 2. I think Neutral 1 is probably a better match for me. I did use Neutral 1 already. I'm gonna put these in. I brought one of my little glass kitchen containers to put these in just because it's very hard to get my brush in this tiny little sample container. These are, I think, like plastic containers, but they're ones that could totally be reused for travel or just anything where I need to depot something into a little tub like this. I'll definitely be reusing these. I think what I'll do is just mix these two together just because I feel like they're really close in shade and I want to use both since I have them. This full size of this foundation retails for $28 and the samples were $1.75 each. So I just put a little bit in this container here. And I'm gonna use my Profusion foundation brush. This is like a flat top foundation brush that I wouldn't normally use for liquid foundation because it has a lot of flexibility to it, but I do think it'll be good for powder foundation. So Alima Pure, it's a little bit about them. Minimal ingredients for maximum impact. We only use the highest quality, purest ingredients, never tested on animals. They are Logical Harmony approved. I'm just gonna start buffing this into my skin here. I'm sort of gonna use this to set my concealer too. Wow, I actually feel like I'm getting good coverage from this. The one time I used it just dipping my brush straight into the container, I felt like I couldn't get enough on my brush, but I feel like I'm getting a better application this way for sure. They are also another certified B Corporation, just like Elate. They're woman owned and run. They say they're 100% carbon neutral. They offset 100% of carbon emissions through the Carbon Fund. They're enrolled in a green source renewable power program, meaning they derive power from 100% renewable sources, including solar, wind, biomass, hydro, and geothermal. Member of 1% for the Planet, so they donate 1% of their annual gross revenue, sales, not profit, to grassroots environmental organizations dedicated to protecting our planet. They offer also refillable compacts for some of their products, not all of them. Like this loose powder foundation I don't think is refillable, but they have a pressed powder foundation that isn't a refillable compact, and they have some other products that are refillable as well, which I think is awesome. Those compacts hold magnetic pans, so you can easily swap them out for a new one once one runs out. So far I'm liking this. I feel like it might be a little dark with the number 2 shade mixed in, so maybe I would just go for Neutral 1 if I were to order the full size of this, but I haven't explored much into powder foundation, so that's kind of why I wanted to try this one. because I do feel like powder foundations can be really good when you just want a quick foundation, and I feel like they can tend to look more natural even if you do have dry skin, because it's just a lighter layer of product than if you were using like a thick liquid foundation. So yeah, they describe this as a satin matte foundation, and I would agree with that. I feel like it's matte for sure, but it doesn't look flat on my skin either. So I really am impressed with the coverage. I feel like I'm getting a decent like light to medium coverage, which I feel like is kind of all you can really expect from a powder foundation. I did make sure to really hydrate before this. I put on like a facial oil, a moisturizer, and of course my sunscreen underneath, so I feel like my skin was very well prepped. I do think this primer helped add even a little bit more hydration, the Elate primer. So I feel like this looks really good, and I don't feel like it's emphasizing any dryness on my skin. My skin looks matte, but it doesn't look dry. I will say, I feel like the first time I used this, my skin, I felt like it was kind of clinging to some dryness right here. So I do think that really making sure my base was hydrated helped a lot. For blush, I don't have a bronzer to share, but I do have a blush and a highlighter. The blush is from a brand that you may never have heard of. This is one that nobody recommended to me, but I learned about it through a like zero waste blogger that actually lives in my area, and I've met her before. She's really cool. I'm actually going to talk about her in a minute again, but she did a blog post all about low waste blushes that she tried, and this was one of them, and this one called out to me because it was the most affordable of all of them. Affordable is so subjective, so that's why I put it in quotes, but this is $17. All the other like low waste blush options that I was looking into were like $30+. So this one was $17, and this is from a brand, a very tiny brand called River Organics. This is their vegan blush stick in the shade Pinch. It comes in a recycled cardboard tube that you just push up through the bottom. Let me just use my finger actually, I feel like that's easiest. So River Organics is an independent beauty company located in Wilmington, North Carolina. Our products are made with organic plant oils and butters and produced in small batches and sustainable recycled cardboard. I'm pretty sure online the only place you can get this brand is on their website, and then they're also sold in like little local like health food stores and boutiques. They have a little like store locator on their website. One thing that I really appreciate that they talked about on their website is that they use synthetic mica to avoid the human rights violations associated with traditional mica. Traditional mica is, from what I've gathered, it's hard to know where it's sourced from, even for the brands that are using it, but oftentimes it is sourced using child labor. It's just not always the most ethically sourced ingredient, so I like that they just kind of, they say, you know, just to avoid it completely, we just use synthetic mica. So, love that. They are Leaping Bunny certified, they're not on Logical Harmony, and they also donate a portion of sales to One Tree Planted. Really liking this blush, it's very subtle. They have at least one other shade. I know they also have like highlighter sticks, bronzer sticks, some other like lip products as well, so it does feel a little, I don't want to say dry, but it's not coming off like crazy pigmented, which I kind of appreciate in a blush. I do feel like I'm having to build it a little bit, but I kind of like that. Another thing I'll say is this shipped very quickly, and all of these things, the ones that I ordered online, which I think was most of them, they came in very minimal plastic-free packaging. I'm excited about this brand. I love finding these little brands that not many people have heard of. I just feel like it's exciting to find like good products from those brands, and I'm really liking this blush. This was actually sent to me in PR. Some of these brands I did reach out to. They were ones I was already interested in, to ask if they might be willing to send me any products complimentary for me to include in this video, so only 2 brands actually got back to me, but Aether Beauty was one of them. So full disclosure, it was sent to me for free, but always gonna share my honest opinions regardless. I actually reviewed this in my most recent speed reviews video, but this is their Supernova Crushed Pink Diamond Highlighter. It retails for $38. So not cheap at all. You might also recognize this brand. They're sold at Sephora, and they also, their original product that they came out with was these eyeshadow palettes, which I haven't tried any of those yet, but I'm interested in those as well. This is their most recent launch. The shade I have is Pink Diamond Dust. I do have an affiliate code with Aether Beauty. It's 20% off, so you can get a pretty good chunk of money off. But it's just Sarah Rose, all one word. I do get a small commission if you use that code. They are vegan and cruelty free. They're Logical Harmony and Leaping Bunny certified. They say that they source organic and fair trade ingredients whenever possible. The big thing about them is they removed the mirrors and magnets from their compacts and their palettes in order to make them more easily recyclable. So of course, anytime a brand says that their packaging is recyclable, you're gonna wanna check with your local recycling facility to make sure that that material actually is recyclable where you are, because every local facility is different. So you can usually find that out just with a quick Google search, but I just wanted to point that out. But they say that if you remove, with their palettes or with these, if you just remove the pan, so either the eyeshadow pan or the highlight pan, and the elastic, you should be able to recycle this. This is completely paper. So obviously it's not 100% zero waste because you can't recycle the elastic, and I don't think you can recycle the pan either, but it's still a much lower waste option than many products. And they also partner with a different charity for each product that they launch. So they say so far they partnered with the Water Project, the Rainforest Foundation, and the Surfrider Foundation. I'm not going to go into what all of those organizations are right now, but I'll leave them listed down below. So there's that highlighter. I've been using this highlighter for a couple months now, and I do really like it. I will say it is sparkly. So not everybody is about, you know, the super sparkly highlighters, so it may not be for you, but I really like it. And I feel like even though this color looks like it could have been too dark for my skin tone, they say that there's no like base pigment to these, so in theory they should work for any skin tone. They come in two shades. This is like the more goldeny of the two. The other one is a little bit more like light pink, I think. So you may still want to look and see which shade might suit you best. But I feel like even though it is sparkly, at least on my skin, I like the way it looks. I feel like it looks more like glistening and dewy as opposed to like the sparkles enhancing any texture on my skin. So I'm a big fan, but I'm sure it's not for everyone. That is most of the face products. I am gonna put on some eyeshadow primer. This isn't from any of these special brands, but it's just my Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer in Nude. I also don't have a brow product from any of these brands, but I am just gonna use my normal one, which is my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Taupe. I have found one of the most sustainable things you can do for your brow routine is to switch to a brow pomade. This one is in a glass jar. I feel like I used to go through so many plastic retractable brow pencils. Last year I think I used up like 6 brow pencils over the course of the year. Maybe even more than that, I can't remember. It was a lot. Whereas this, I've barely made a dip and I've been using it for a couple months, so I have a feeling this is gonna last me at least a year, and it's less plastic. Now I know people are having a lot of feelings right now about Anastasia Beverly Hills because they partnered with Rodan and Fields, which is an MLM company. I was pretty disappointed to see that they did that, to be honest with you. I haven't decided how I feel about continuing to purchase from Anastasia. It doesn't affect their cruelty-free status from what I've heard, but it's still just super disappointing to see that they would partner with an MLM company. So the eyeshadow palette that I'm going to talk about is one that I've actually talked about it on my channel before. I did a 3 looks 1 palette with this palette. This is from a new brand called Shared Planet, and it's their Polar Bear eyeshadow palette. They make a couple of eyeshadow palettes and then also lip glosses. I think that's the extent of their brand, at least at the moment. But I have been loving this palette. It's a very kind of cool toned palette. They've got some fun blues in here. If you want to see the 3 looks 1 palette where I did 3 different looks with this, I will link that so you can check it out. But today's look, I think I really just want to feature Glacier, which is this royal blue shade, all over my lid. I love dark blues, they're my favorite. I pretty much always start off my look with Cub. It's this light beige matte shade, perfect for just starting out the crease. But Shared Planet they're pretty new. I think they just recently launched this past year. The founder of this brand is 17 years old. So cool. 10% of their proceeds go to, the main charities they go to are Polar Bears International and Panthera, which are charities that protect at-risk animals in their habitats, mainly polar bears for the polar bear one, and then big cats is what Panthera works with. So tigers, panthers, things like that. They are completely vegan and cruelty-free, the brand, and they're Leaping Bunny certified. They also say that they are child labor-free. And they do use mica in their products, but they say, and now this is something I want to keep educating myself on, but they're committed to never selling products that are produced using child labor and to only sourcing ethical mica. So I'm not sure what goes into finding out where mica is ethically sourced, so that's something I'm going to keep researching, and I'd like to do a video all about it eventually once I've done more research into it, but they do say they use ethically sourced mica. So that's kind of the gist of this brand. I think, you know, just a really cool company that they're making some bomb eyeshadows. Really cannot believe how good these eyeshadows are. And just such a unique color story too. So I'm just gonna start piling Glacier on my lid. Actually, one thing I learned is that the shimmers in this palette actually perform best when you just apply them with your finger. They work with brushes just fine, but I feel like I've just had better luck using my fingers. Someone is singing "This Girl Is on Fire" outside. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Actually, I think I will bring in a brush for this just to get it all over where I want it. Isn't that a beautiful color? Oh my gosh, so pretty. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and forth between Cub and Chili, which is this cool gray shade, and just blend. I'm gonna take the shade Polar, which is this duochrome whitish blue shade, as my inner corner highlight. Really pretty color for an inner corner. I'm just gonna line my lower lash line with this frosted shade. And I don't have an eyeliner for this video, so that's pretty much it for the eye look, but isn't that pretty? Very dark, but I really like it. The mascara. Now I have a story behind this mascara. So I wasn't going to buy a mascara for this video, but the blogger I mentioned earlier who did a post about low-waist blushes that she tried, the one that I learned about River Organics from, she also did another blog post about low-waist mascaras. And so she tested a few different low-waist mascara options, and I guess she found one that she really liked. And so she ended up actually gifting the rest of the ones that she had tried to our local Buy Nothing Project Facebook group, which I've talked about before, but it's basically a place for people to pretty much gift any item that they no longer need. So anyway, she was gifting a few different low-waist mascaras. I commented and said I was interested, and I ended up receiving this one from her. It's the Dirty Hippie Cosmetics Volumizing Mascara. This one is really interesting. So it comes in this glass tube with like a metal, an aluminum lid, and then it comes with a separate spoolie that you dip in there. Yes, it has been used, I guess, a few times by her, but I figured since the spoolie was able to be cleaned easily, I am not too worried about the sanitariness of this. So I'm gonna try this out. I haven't tried it yet. I just picked this up a few days ago from her and literally trying it for the first time. I did go ahead and clean the spoolie off with some Dr. Bronner's bar soap. But this brand, so this is their volumizing mascara in Carbon Black. I think they also make a lengthening mascara. It feels thick in there. So I remember her saying in her blog post that the thing about this that was kind of tricky is that there's really no stopper in this jar. So the spoolie can kind of come out very coated. So I'm gonna try to like wipe it off in there as best I can. I don't think I mentioned the name of her blog. It's called Tiny Yellow Bungalow, and she also has a zero waste online shop on her website as well. So super cool. I'm not sure if she carries any makeup on there just yet, but she has tons of like lifestyle products on there. Really cool. So I will link her below because I think she's amazing. And I think it's really cool that she lives in my town. So here's a little about Dirty Hippie. This mascara retails for $17.49. It is an Australian company, but they also have an Etsy store. So this glass vial is recyclable, and they do accept empties. They have an empties take-back program on their full-sized tin and bottle products from Australian residents only. They are, I did see, they're neither Logical Harmony nor Leaping Bunny certified. It doesn't look like they have any cruelty-free certification, but they do claim to be cruelty-free and vegan, and I did email them with my list of questions that I have, so I will let you know if and when they get back to me what they say and if I'm satisfied with their answer. I figured I was glad to have something for this video to use for this. So far I'm not having issues with it looking super clumpy because I did wipe off the brush really well. But yeah, this bottle could really use some sort of like stopper mechanism, I think. So far I'm getting a very natural look to my lashes. They say that they are ethically sourced, fair trade, and they are geared towards zero waste products. So that's about all I know about this brand. I'm getting a pretty natural look to my lashes right now. I will say, they say that you're supposed to clean off this brush after you've used it every time, because otherwise it'll get dried up on there and then you probably won't have a very successful application the next time you go to use it. So That is one thing about it. You know, it's a little bit more work than your typical mascara would be. Yeah, it's pretty subtle, and I feel like I'm having a hard time getting it to really coat my lashes. Alright, I'm gonna try the bottom lashes because I normally do put mascara on my bottom lashes. Alright, I'm gonna stop trying to build this up on this eye, but yeah, it's a little clumpy. I think they also make an eyeliner in this same type of packaging. And they do make they make a lengthening mascara, so I wonder maybe that one's better. Who knows? I do want to get confirmation on their cruelty-free status though before I can really confidently recommend this brand to you. Yeah, that's about the best I can do. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of wipe this off on my cloth here, and then I'll just wash it with my Dr. Bronner's soap. But anyway, there's that mascara. Not impressed right now, but I like the concept. And then the last thing that I'm gonna use is some lipstick. This is the other brand that did respond to me when I asked if they might be willing to send me anything. And the brand is called Axiology. This was another brand that one of you told me that you were interested in hearing about. So they are Logical Harmony approved and 100% vegan. They focus specifically on lipsticks. I think that's all they make. They say that they're palm oil free. They say that they started Axiology to make the, quote, cleanest, most ethical lipstick on the planet. But on their about page, they really don't give a whole lot of information about what that means to them. So all of their boxes are recyclable as well as compostable, and their lipstick tubes are aluminum and can be recycled. Of course, check with your local facility again to find out if aluminum is recyclable in your area. And then unfortunately their crayon packaging, which they also sent me one of those, is not recyclable. So these are the ones to go for if you want something recyclable. And they also donate to animal welfare organizations such as our local humane societies, animal sanctuaries, and the Orangutan Foundation. All the charities I've mentioned, I'll link down below in case you want to learn more about them, but that's what they say, so I don't know. But the shades they sent me are, the crayon is in the shade Vibration. I probably won't use this one just because I'm trying to showcase the more sustainable products, and I'd rather focus on the recyclable packaging ones. But that's the shade Vibration, really pretty red. And then they also sent me one of their bullet lipsticks in Clarity, which is another red. I'm not sure if this part of the lipstick would be recyclable, but I think it's this part that definitely is. But there's also like a plastic mechanism in there. So these open kind of interestingly. You press the bottom and they pop out. So there is a little like plastic spring-loaded thing in there that you probably would want to take out before you recycle the outside. That's Clarity, a little bit of a darker red. I was wearing that in the beginning of my Salt Cup review video, which just went up a few days ago. And then finally I have the shade Loyalty, which is more of a nude pink. This might be the one I wear today. There's that one. I think that'll go best with this eye look. So we'll go with that one. But I will say I've worn all of these and I really do like the formula. They are very smooth, and at least all the shades they sent me have a little bit of like a satin, very subtle sheen to them. There's no like detectable shimmer, but it's just very subtly kind of got a sheen to it. So there's that color. I really do like that. I really do like these lipsticks. I feel like they're very comfortable. Yeah, they're ones that I'm for sure gonna continue wearing a lot. And the packaging is beautiful, by the way. Okay, so I think that just about concludes this video. That is the full face of all brands that are either sustainable or ethically minded or some combination of those two things. So I hope you enjoyed this and were able to take something away from this video. I'm not saying that you have to run out and buy these things if you want to be an ethical consumer. The most ethical and sustainable thing you can do is to use what you already have. So please remember that. But I thought this might just be a fun way to spotlight some brands that seem to be maybe going a little bit out of their way to try to be more sustainable and ethical. So just to recap, most of these products I ended up really liking. The standout products to me that I came away feeling really positive feelings about were definitely the Alima Pure Satin Matte Foundation. I was impressed. I really wasn't expecting much because I've never really been much of a powder foundation kind of person, but I'm really pleased with the finish. I feel like as long as I have a hydrated base, I really do like the way those look. So that I'm a fan of. Really big fan of this Pinch cheek color from River Organics. Very subtle, but I just thought it went on really seamlessly and exactly how I would want a cream blush to look on my skin. So really happy with that. We'll definitely continue to use this and get a lot of use out of that. You already know, I love the Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. Love the Aether Beauty highlighter, although it's probably not for everyone, so just be aware of that. The Axiology lipsticks I really like. And then the products that I was not so much impressed with were honestly both of the Elate products. The primer seems nice, but I don't think it's gonna become like a staple for me in my routine. I don't like that it has a very like essential oily type fragrance to it. I'm just not really into that. I'll definitely continue to use that sample up. And then same with their concealer. I didn't feel like I got much coverage from it, and I felt like I had to keep building and building, and it does feel kind of dry on my skin. The mascara I'm gonna keep playing with. Again, that was my first time trying it, so I'm gonna keep playing with it, but I don't think this is gonna become like my favorite mascara. And yeah, like I said, I just wanna have a discussion about this because I'm really not making any big conclusive statements here. It was mostly just a let's get the ball rolling on this discussion and try some new interesting brands. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I make lots of videos about cruelty-free beauty and just conscious consumerism. So I hope to see you again very soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.